So I met you, I believe, the first year
Yeah.
you came.
Yep.
You and your wife.
Yep.
You've since had a child?
Yes, 7 months old now.
And did you guys start a business? What unique thing did you do when you left Rural X to share with this?
Yeah, so Dakota Resources kind of tagged a writer that asked us, interviewed us every month. And so we kind of felt like, well, I suppose we need something every month to give them to write about. So we went out and we're trying to do activities in the community. That's kind of spawned off into a nonprofit. And then a lot of other things. We've been able to change or kind of help get some new board members in certain areas, and it feels like the narrative's starting to change. But it's a continual process.
And they're going through that full empower process
Yep.
right now.
Excellent.
Mike's coming in monthly, and how many teams do you have working?
We started off with 10 teams, so we did a gathering. We had 100 people show
Well,
up.
cheers in, ladies.
We got 100 people show up at the community gathering, and then 10 teams formed out of that. And start to tackle issues in the community. And I think there's about 5 active ones right now.
In 4 years' time, that's what I want y'all to listen to. They small step their way up, which is awesome. Okay, you have to come closer. Oh. Yeah, I want a complete circle if you don't mind. Nobody here bites that I know of. You're sure I'd be wrong. Richard.
Rich Fire down from Castlewood. Yes, we have several projects coming in, just to develop a wellness center. There's a project for football fields, soccer field, community center. And so we've just developed separate committees. We set up a 501c3.
Rich, what do you want?
This is what we're doing what we want.
You're doing what you want. Excellent. Is there anything missing? Or anything you personally would like to see?
Looking for help in the grants area, areas to go to, organizations to check that out with who they would apply for. You know, some of them won't do it for a school or a city or something like that.
So do you get the Dakota Research newsletter that comes every month? You sure sign up for that? They have a huge listing of resources at the end of that newsletter. I'm in Iowa and I look at that for information because it's really valuable and you'll find some assistance there. That's a great jumping off point. And it's free. You sign up and Paula can share with you later how to do that.
Okay.
What's all the information you want?
I want to know your name, where you're from, what you do, and what you want.
Oh. My name is Carrie Dieter. I'm from Faulkton. And I own a small shop in Faulkton that I started in my garage making wood signs and hand painting them, and then eventually my husband said you have to go away. And so I got a store in town, and then there's a lot of young entrepreneurs in town, and so they all have kind of side gigs but full-time jobs. So I opened a bigger shop, and then I rent space to them so that they have some place to put their products.
Where's the west side of the street?
I'm on the north side of the
On the
street,
north
straight across
side.
from the elevator.
Oh,
By
okay. got
the,
it.
in the retail
We didn't
center.
go
That
there.
mini mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And so that's what I do. What I want right now is that we have all these murals, we have all these wonderful, amazing things going on in Boston, and everybody seems kind of lost in what's the next step. Like we need our city isn't going to provide us a graphic designer to make all the things that need to be made and sold to people, and we just don't know what the next step is, and I think we're kind of missing the boat on capturing the tourism that comes through.
Got it, okay.
I'm just along for the ride.
It doesn't matter, you still have to
I love small towns, I love the community-based thing, and what I want is to win the lottery and build
Finally,
a new main
somebody that's honest.
a new Main Street on the west side of the Main Street is bad. We need new buildings and tear down a couple, and that's what I want.
With the dead plants still there.
The
Pardon me?
hardware
The
store.
hardware
Yes.
store.
The dead plants.
I want that to go away.
It's
Yeah.
so terrible.
Okay.
So,
Mark Box, and with Mitchell Area Development, where I've been since October of last fall. Mitchell has been very complacent, status quo for a long time. It has a tremendous amount of potential, and I want us to be visionary and start working towards reaching that potential and become a community and the region that it can be.
So what one thing would be included in that?
You want me to pick one of 100?
Yes. That you want. What's at the top of your list?
Quality of life.
Okay, so that's too broad.
I knew you were going to say that.
Tennis teams, track, swimming pool, new streets.
All of it.
Okay. You know, I'll keep digging until I get to where I want to be.
I would say we need to, how about if I give you two?
Okay, perfect.
Like the negotiation.
Yeah.
We need to spend a lot of time and energy to revitalize the core of our community, downtown. We have 300,000 people that go through the Corn Palace on an annual basis.
That's amazing.
It's a beautiful place, but the doorstep and the area leading up and to and away from is less than desirable. I should say something else.
That's
Less
okay.
than desirable, so we need to put a lot of time, energy, talent, resources into our downtown, because that will, the strength of a community begins with the core of the community.
There's a wonderful shop that the gentleman hand curates everything in it. It's on the west side of the street, next to the deli. What's the name of that deli?
It's right next to Laura May's.
Yes.
Right
Right across the hall.
Yeah.
Becky and I were in there yesterday. And only because we stopped at the deli the first day we were here to have lunch. And what a wonderful shop. And I wonder how many other wonderful things are there that your tourists are missing out on, for sure. Got it.
Sonia Muller, I'm with Mitchell Chamber and Convention Visitors Bureau, and I too would like to win the lottery. And I'm on the same page as Marcus. Our downtown, it all starts there. We've got really great potential, but we need to get focused and make that a priority.
Katie Bushbach. I am the sales manager at the Mitchell Convention Visitors Bureau. I just started May 1st, so still kind of looking for that niche on, you know, what I want to kind of put my stamp on and whatnot. But I would really like to see a little bit more diversity that's embraced in the community. It's kind of, you know,
We
we
had
got
a-
horse blinders on and we kind of go one way that is comfortable. I'd like to kind of branch out and do some of those things that are a little bit.
We were walking around taking pictures, and we were over by the Carnegie Library, and this fella came out, he was carrying this great big piece of quartz, and of course I had to stop him. But he had already stopped and said, "Have you been in there? Have you seen the dome?" And we got to visiting, and he said, "I'm Native American, but you wouldn't know it in this town that we have a lot of us here." So that, I thought that was kind of interesting.
So I'm Keisha Baranek. I work for economic development in Miller, South Dakota. Unlike you, I've been there since May 6th, so I'm not the only newbie in the room. Yeah. I want a lot of things, but one of the things, we have a lot of businesses for sale in town. I want some ideas to fill those businesses.
So buildings or businesses?
Both.
Are people still in those businesses for sale?
Some.
Are they over 65?
It's close.
Okay.
I don't know.
We see that rurally,
Yeah.
that 60, 65 age range. Now the kids don't want the business. They probably took it from their parents. That was an option for them, and they figured their kids would too. And this is not happening. So succession planning is a huge deal. And I know the SBDC has done some focusing on it, as has Dakota Resources. So there is assistance out there for you. But we'll talk some smaller steps.
Yeah.
Because that's what Savior.town is known for. The idea-friendly method is really simple. Gather your crowd, build connections, and take small steps. Savior.town, it's all there, you'll find it.
I want to be able to connect with all of these communities and promote each other, because we have an awesome veterans park that if we could come up with, I don't know, in Nebraska they have the jump jaunt and it's awesome. You just go rummage sailing 500 miles. But why can't we do something like that? Why can't we create something that gets everybody? I mean, we can have or we can't have Sioux Falls, but you know what? They're the hub. So include them in and just make it.
We'll
make
spend
it
the last
true.
5 minutes sharing phone numbers and you guys can connect with each other. How's that sound? Just text each
That's
other,
fine.
your name and your number. Okay. Who wants to talk about their wish first? I want to start with you. Nobody said yes, so I.
The negotiator.
And I'll tell you why. I'm a huge fan of downtown improvement, downtown revitalization. I have a chamber background. I understand the complex personalities that you run into, all the way from the tourists to the building owners to the business owners. It's sometimes, and the city, throw the city in the mix as well. What one simple thing do you think you could do to direct people from the Corn Palace to a block down? Some place a block down. A block that way. Right. South.
One simple thing. It's not simple, but one thing is create an attraction pulling down the street.
Okay, let's get simpler, because we can.
I know. Can I answer?
Absolutely.
I didn't know if you were just picking on him. You
No,
could
no,
do
no.
like little footprints or corn and like painting with arrows that look like corn. Say go this way or signs or
Planters with flowers to make it look
Definitely cool to walk more.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you
Did
guys
you-
did the right thing with some green space on the south
Yeah.
side, but I think taking that farther.
Yeah.
Can we run and get our city administrator quick?
Is that a problem?
No, she's all on board.
Okay.
It's funding and the city council that end up being an issue.
Okay, so you don't need
Therefore, it
permission to do
doesn't
99% of the
Right,
things you want to do. How could you involve your students in creating those corn prints?
Well, that's simple. We have a really good connection with our student population.
So it would be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
Our local arts council brings in like an artist in residence, and then they draw the picture on the building, and then our kids, who we don't have an art program in our school, this is our art program, we bring them in, and then they pencil it out, and then they give everybody the paintbrushes, and they say, paint this square bed, and paint this cow, paint whatever it is, so.
Katie's actually working on a project right now where we're putting selfie spots throughout the community, and they would also go downtown. So it's an online social media presence thing, and then you can win, prizes from doing that. So we're creating these big stickers that will go places, and we'll promote all that through social media to help move down the road.
This is where,
Last night at dinner, we talked about co-opetition. So if you're not familiar with the term co-opetition, it's about competing businesses cooperating with each other. So what kind of things are in place with your business owners that are on Main Street where they're either verbally pushing people down the street or they're handing them a coupon when they buy something and say, hey, it's coffee time, why don't you run down, here's 20% off for $1 off your coffee.
that's where this quickly moves from simple to very complex. Not to get defensive, just to state a fact, some of the things that we're talking about here have been tried and have not succeeded.
Okay, so let's back up, because I hate that, we tried that before, it didn't work.
And.
I love the and. Go ahead.
I agree.
Okay, so
Doesn't
let's
mean we're
look
not
at
gonna try it
who
again.
who that tourist base is. Who are those 300,000 people? Can you put a generic face and name and attitude and where are they coming from and who are
Oh my
they?
God, they come from all over. They're from all over the world, and they're anywhere between small children that come with families to retirees who have been here 6 or 7 times and they stop by. There are people who stop by yearly, so it is all over.
So if you took 3 different personas, families, retirees, and young professionals.
Yep.
And then created some piece of something fun to direct them somewhere. So the families, they go over to the Bible thing across the street, right? What else could they do? Don't their kids need to run wild and go down to a park somewhere? Can you easily put up a sign by the Bible place? Have you been to our park yet? Let your kids run. The retirees, they're not going to walk down the street. We know that. So how can you get them down the street?
Ice cream.
She's retired, they love the ice cream.
Love the ice cream.
Across the street, it's there.
A golf cart. One golf cart with a retired volunteer driving a golf cart around with a sign on the back. Take a ride. Start small.
Start like him in the rickshaw shop right here. You're athletic.
Well,
Have bike share, Mitchell?
Not yet.
is it coming?
No.
Or scooter shares or anything like that?
And the young professionals, they want gluten-free. They want the unique shopping experience. So your Corn Palace is yours, where you start. But you have to create some kind of trail to move them down the street.
And we need the business cooperation that Paul was talking about. That
So let's talk about that, because I'm sure we all run into that. We just did a piece on this, a video on this. What if you created postcards? I know you know one person that's cooperative in your business district, right? So you create a postcard around Mitchell, and on the back you list TripAdvisor, you list Yelp, you list those places where people leave reviews, and you give that person the postcard. And you do not say, leave me a review. You say, where else have you been? Oh, take a postcard, but you leave them a review. Take it away from the place you were at. Because you have to start building that cooperation somewhere, and one person can do that. And then you guys are in the office, you can track TripAdvisor and Yelp and see what they're doing. And when you notice one's store gets 2 reviews, you go visit with them. Did you know we got 2 reviews? Here, let me show you what that looks like on the iPad. How do you think that happened? And you start talking about how you can share with each other. The negative ones, you may have heard us say, they were never yours, forget about them. They are not going to help you. Now they may tag along when they see other people being more successful, but on the front end, don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. So you can make postcards. Got that in your budget? You spend $50 to make some postcards, and do you know 1 or 2 people that might be willing to do that? There's a project that you can easily do. You start it when you get home or back to the office. Mitchell's big enough. What are you, about 17,000?
Right at 60.
You know,
Regional about 50.
I told my tattoo artist that I was going to the Corn Palace. And he was like, this is in Iowa. He goes, what the hell is the Corn Palace? And I'm like, oh, you wouldn't believe it. It's all made out of corn, and it is so cool, because we went as kids, and I'm old now. So I was so excited to come here to go see the Corn Palace. It's the first place I had to go to take a picture of it. But I knew that I needed to support the downtown too. So figuring out how to get people, I always shop local, almost always. Figuring out how to get people from the Corn Palace out of there. Their management, tell me about how that runs in the Corn Palace.
You want to take a stab at that?
And I want all of you to be thinking of your communities here. And some of these ideas that you can do there, you can do the same thing in Falkton for sure.
Go ahead, sorry.
No. Are they workable?
Yes, their director and staff are workable, but ultimately it's a government-run facility. So that's where some of the hang-ups come in.
Who owns the
is you
street?
get the red tape, the city. Oh, it's a city-run facility. They own the building, they staff it. So that's where some of that, in lies is you get the government red tape wrapped around it. So as much as we try and break that down, we're doing great. We've made great strides with our relationship with them and the things that they're doing differently. It's just a slower process than if it was somebody else running it.
And to everybody in this room, if you don't like the way your mayor or your city council is doing things, run for office.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get your friends out to vote, run for office.
Yep.
I can't say that often.
I live 1 mile out of town and I can't run for an house.
But you can get your friends out to vote.
My best friend's the mayor, so
Okay.
I tell him all the things.
All right. So you see a couple of steps you can take. The three of you. What does a sales manager do at the CBB?
Whatever she tells me to.
Is that like one of the sales?
Sell our community. Try and get
Got it.
other people
Okay.
that aren't coming here to come here, stay in our hotels, eat in our restaurants, put gas in cars. So use sporting events. Let's fill up our performing arts center. Let's,
So
get
2 hours a day at the busiest time of day, standing down at the Corn Palace is very doable for her.
Mm-hmm.
To talk to people. Have you been over to this shop? Do you want some coffee? You want some ice cream? Just that face to face. You will hate it at first. I hated doing it at first, but then it got to be fun. I'm a former chamber director. My board made me go out and talk to all the businesses, and it got to be fun. I'm glad I did it, and it got to be rewarding for them as well. Hand out little free. You have Mitchell pins.
Oh, we hand out a ton of stuff.
Take them to the selfie shop, the selfie station, and then direct them to the next one down the street. What do you want to do?
I didn't really say what I wanted to do.
So I'm coming back to you. What do you want to do? What do you want?
This is a wild one. We've got a lot of rail in South Dakota. I would love to see an old train somehow make its way across the state, because I think of how South Dakota, we divide ourselves by the river, West River, East River, and most of the tourist attractions are West River. So we've got all this rail. Why can't we just get an old train engine that just makes a ride up the state?
I don't even know how to answer that, but
I've never talked with the railroad, have you?
Oh yeah, I've talked to the railroad.
Well, it's fine.
Yeah, I know, but
are they active rail or is there a portion that's not active?
There's active rail.
No, I'm looking for not active though.
Oh. I'm
Yes,
sure there's plenty of non-active.
Ours is all taken out. It's all concrete now.
But the reason it's not active is because it's not safe. And it would take millions to rehab it to get it to be.
Oh, I love this idea though.
I know. I like that. I'm on board with you.
Yeah, we'll take them from trip to
So,
Fulton.
Yeah, that would be
who
awesome.
says it has to be on the railroad? Can you not put a railroad car in a trailer and bring it across the highway and stop everywhere along the way? Talk to your state people.
That's a.
Let them think it's their idea.
See,
It's a
for-
tourism.
Yeah, it's a tourism deal.
Christie's on the tourism board.
Is she?
There's somebody from tourism.
So this is not an overnight project, but
Yeah.
it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So how could you take some small steps that way? Paula, work with me on this one. You travel to all these towns a lot. How can this happen in a very small way?
Yeah, I mean, like, even from Miller to Fulton, is there something, right? And we've talked about that because of the mural in Fulton, right? That Fulton and Miller and Hoven and Gettysburg, there needs to be either some sort of loop or some sort
Yeah,
of.
we have a bus tour now that is going to be coming back, I believe. Anyway, it was a mystery tour coming out of Minnesota somewhere, and their mystery tour was people paid $99, they got on the bus, they didn't know where they were going, they stopped in Columbia, South Dakota, and Watertown, and then Redfield, and ate lunch, and then they came to Faulkton, and Faulkton was very welcoming, and they gave them the full tour. We had everyone from the mayor to my dad to, and they took them to every single spot that they could possibly be on and see in Faulkton, and there's a lot of them. And then they all got back on, they stopped and used my shop for the restrooms, and they got back on the bus and they left, and the amount of people who have come back is wonderful. They were going to be in their newsletter. I think something like that would be great to do more centrally located.
Yes.
Absolutely, and you could work with Foreman Bus Service out of Miller.
Yeah.
We got all those buses.
I mean, like, shopping in Miller is fabulous. And the shopping in your town isn't
Well,
fabulous.
Let's stop the shop.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
They're
but-
both fabulous though.
But you
Yeah.
can do some of that,
Right.
but like, there's something about, I mean, the clothing store and Heartstrings and the shoe store, that's really unique to a small Main Street anymore. And you have the art, and Holman has the cathedral.
Yes.
You know,
It's
and
awesome.
Gettysburg has the river, there's just all these things along that road.
Yeah.
So put it on your list to talk to banks, because they do these kind of tours. In Iowa, our state tourism brings in tour bus drivers once a year, and you can go meet with them. I'm assuming South Dakota probably does something like that, but definitely contact the State Department and then make it happen. Just do it.
They called it a mystery bus tour.
Yeah,
They
because
didn't know
Because
where
those
they were
people
going.
don't know where they're going.
Love that.
So you can contact with Minnesota, with Nebraska, with the corner of Iowa. I mean, people like to travel.
Yeah, we have South Dakotans, you could take bus tours out of Sioux Falls and Aberdeen and get people into these small towns, and they would probably go. Travel Backroads, Joan Sackerson has talked about doing a bus
yeah.
tour.
Yep.
Time
She's
and time
here.
again, and she's just not
She's
quite
here.
there yet. Yep, Joan is here. And her and Rita have been working with the Highway 14 group to do something like you're talking about, where you're stopping, like doing antiquing or junking or whatever all along that way.
Where it's self-driving.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
self-driving tour. The Arts Meander is another thing up in northern Minnesota. We had them do a webinar on the Learning Network here a month or two ago, which was a great idea.
Okay, Richard, Rich. So you have everything you want. Okay. What can we, as a group, help you come up with some cool ideas to try things? Small steps, guys. I'm always thinking small steps first, because it grows, or it doesn't. But the cool thing about small steps is it's the way to test it and try it and see if you've got a decent idea, and people will be drawn to a good idea and help you to do that. And if it's not any good, it's not a big failure. Failure's just a learning opportunity, so that's not a bad thing.
I think we're doing the steps we need. Different committees working on different projects. People are interested in it. We got our 501c3 set up. So, that was an initial step.
How are the kids involved?
How are they?
The students involved? And I'm talking primarily high school, but junior high too, or middle school, whatever it's called here.
I don't really know if there's an involvement for them.
Find a way to do that.
Oh, well, yeah, okay.
And I'll give you what I know for sure. I want you all to think, close your eyes, and remember when you were in high school, what did your town look like? You didn't close your eyes.
He did for a minute.
But what did your town look like? It looked like it did when you were in high school. It may not look like what it looks like now. So when people leave town after high school, how they remember their town is how it was when they were a senior. That's their memory of their town. If they're not involved in their community, they don't want to come back. But if you have actual involvement, physical involvement, maybe they made a bench, maybe they painted a mural, but really involved in doing things they want to do in the community, they tend to come back and bring their families. I mean, I close my eyes and I remember Bean Days. I lived in a town of 140, and we had a parade every year called Bean Days about soybeans. Go figure. They don't do that anymore.
example of that
Yes.
with a little bit of a twist?
Oh boy, here we go. Yep, go ahead.
In 2005, our oldest graduated from North Dakota State. I went to work there in Fargo in 2012. He was living on the west coast of LA. His first trip back, the first summer we were there. What are we gonna do when we land? We'll pick you up. We'll go downtown Fargo, hang out. No, downtown Fargo is a complete shithole. It's not safe. We're not going. What are you talking about? It's fantastic. For those of you that haven't been there, it's very similar to downtown Sioux Falls now. Picked him up, went downtown. He couldn't believe the transformation.
There's a group of young people in Fargo that just decided they were going to have a town they wanted to have. And they ranged from high school to mid-30s. And they made it happen. And there's no reason. Scott Meyer, who you may have talked to yesterday, is now in Fargo. And he works with young entrepreneurs. Feel free to Google him and pick his brain. Greg, thank you, is another one. Look for him at his TED Talk. And he traveled all over the world when he got out of school and finally realized he wanted to be home. And Greg has done amazing work for that community. And each of you are here today, and you represent your community. You could have found other things to do. You did not have to be here, but yet you're here. You don't have to wear a superhero cape. Just be who you are and be involved. Don't be afraid to talk to people. What do you want? Oh, you're a salesperson. Let's go to you. Sorry, didn't mean to ignore you. I got the three of you.
What I really want is some sort of marketing and promotional person that helps everyone in our town, not just our town, but.
So the postcard idea is brilliant for you guys.
Yes.
The student idea, God's sakes, just have them paint a mural on a piece of cloth and hang it up over the hardware store. And maybe paint it to look like the hardware store should look like. Make the plants alive and make a signage above it.
That would be amazing.
And you can put a magnetic strip up and put magnets on the back of it and hang it. You're not doing any damage to the building. Any more damage.
I can't say, you can't really, it's bad.
And that would just give people a vision of what it could be, or what they could do, other than looking at it going.
Is it even open?
Well,
People live in it.
Oh.
oh, yeah,
Upstairs.
yeah.
Why has the city not come in and?
The city came in and
Tried.
tore down the building beside it, which they owned because it was falling onto the street. And it just takes money. Like, to tear down a building isn't free, and.
$600,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Jared Hybertson is here today. You know Jared from Centerville. Find Jared. He's got a purple shirt on, and I'll be sitting with him at lunchtime because we're going to talk. But find Jared. They changed their city code to start finding people and making real differences, and they've done a great job in Centerville with
They're
that.
doing that in Miller too. There was like a whole bunch of houses and stuff and they weren't up to code. And a lot of these places worked with like farmers to tear down houses and local contractors.
Some of that.
And then it didn't cost so much.
Well, we did that, and we did that.
Yeah.
We had some people in Foxton who were like, hey, we will help you. We will tear down your house. We will take it to our dump. My family says this. And then, because we live a mile out of town, we'll do that. So we started doing that, and the state came in and said, you can't burn those houses down. Then we'll push it in and we'll take it to the dump. And then they said, well, now you can't take the stuff out of town to a different dump. Well, then the dump says, well, you can't bring it here. And then, so now here we sit. And we have no
Abilities for them on that.
Well, we've talked to Trevor about it. So I think the start of your problem in Faulkton was that it was publicized in the paper and DNR got wind of it. So if you're doing things like that, I mean, The housing,
We did, maybe we did it on the DL.
The housing toolkit gives you all kinds on the learning network. Out of the housing toolkit, it talks about, we learned a lot from all.
So that could be an example.
I went into that, and Jared also helped us create that housing toolkit. So there's lots of step-by-steps and flow charts of how to do things like that and who to talk to. And just don't put it in the newspaper.
Well,
They
it just,
didn't.
I mean,
they were really proud of it.
Yeah, it's real hard when
Yeah.
you just get shut down. And it's not just the housing thing that happened. There was a lot of things that were trying to be done by farmers who wanted to do something to help. And it just keep getting shut down. You get kind of a bad taste in your mouth, and it's hard to want to step up and keep doing it.
You know, and I'm the person that like, well, how can we get around this?
Right.
Yeah.
Let's tear it down real quick in the middle of the night and burn it and,
We tried all that.
Yeah.
and pay the fine.
They just got on the
Like,
radar. They just got on DENR's radar, and we tried to have DENR show up and have conversations with us so we could get answers, like what's the right thing to do, and they wouldn't show up. We invited them multiple times. We even had Mark Lossing from South Dakota Housing invited one time, and they wouldn't come then either. And basically, they just want you to call them and talk it through, and right.
I'm just gonna pretend like I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Go to their house and check it.
The only answer they gave Fulton was you have to haul it to a landfill, which the closest landfill is in Aberdeen.
And it's not feasible to do that.
No.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So just
Why is it not feasible?
Because
80 miles one way.
60 miles,
Yeah.
and you're tearing down a whole house, how many truckloads is it gonna take to get to Aberdeen?
And the tipping fee once
They're
they're
gonna charge you the down.
Yeah.
By weight.
like $30 a load.
Yeah, no.
So-
It's not like we're loading it up in our
So
pickup
if
and
we
driving
just
to Aberdeen.
take one load and burn the rest, that's all we took it. Here's our receipt.
Yeah, that doesn't work. the same.
That's all I was trying.
I'm going with your plan.
So,
And don't put it in the paper.
and as an aside, I have a friend that tears down houses, wood in the house for the stairways, all of that. So inviting those, and they're everywhere, so inviting those folks to come in and take what they want really does help empty that out and make the process a little bit better.
Pickers.
Yeah, Bristol just did that.
I will say there is something to just do it. It's easier to get forgiveness afterwards. That's how we got our
But
contract.
we tried and tried. I mean,
Yeah.
we've just done things and
Okay,
then.
so let's talk marketing then, because we're about at the
About
end
5
here.
minutes, yeah.
Yeah, so the postcard thing would work for you guys. You want to get on the radar of tourists out of the area.
Yes.
And people use those sites to find places to go travel. So, what are you known for? Obviously, the elevator is a big one. How do you tie your shops onto that? Why would I come to Faulkton for half a day? What would I do there?
The big pink house tour.
Yeah, there's the Pickler Mansion. We have
Yeah.
a beautiful quilt
Yeah,
shop, we
golf.
have a carousel.
Yeah.
We have a really cool courthouse, we have a mural, we have,
We have a lot of
a mural beside the,
Why would I
carousel
come in the
museum.
winter? Why would I come in the winter?
The bar.
Snowmobile.
I don't know, what else do we do in the winter?
Yeah, snowmobiling, ATV,
Yeah.
hunting, all of
The
those
hunting,
things that
fishing,
people
yeah.
come in the winter for. Don't forget the winter season, because those folks like to come, and their wives come in the summertime, and their kids come when it's a little nicer weather. But if you have those kind of things, get them out there.
So who does that? Who, like,
Do
we
you
have,
chamber?
we don't have a,
No,
we have a.
economic development.
We have
I'm looking at their website.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys
That's
do
who
it.
we- yeah.
That's who does it. It does, it's gonna
I
be
have-
chaotic, it doesn't matter. Everybody, you just do it.
If you need like a are you talking like an actual marketing person?
Yes.
What about a high schooler that wants to go into that?
They do an intern program through our high school. but there isn't anybody in the last couple of years who's come out that's going into or.
Okay, no.
Reach
Go.
out to Northern and have them.
We just talked about that
We're wrapping
yesterday,
it
about
up.
getting somebody to do a capstone, their capstone, and giving them the whole town and saying, here, market our whole town.
So go to the high school, talk to the principal, and say, we're gonna come every week. We want an hour of kids' times or half an hour. We need their help in marketing our community. And then you guys take turns and go to Facebook and go to Twitter and go to Snapchat.
Our high school does that, and then they put it on the ITC channel. They make commercials for all of the businesses.
Yeah, it's gonna be chaotic and crazy, but that's okay.
Have you used
That's real life
ICANN?
experience.
Use what?
ICANN,
Uh-uh.
ICAN, I think they actually venture brought them into Faulkton not too long ago. They create commercials.
And it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
compared to
for
others.
$250 to $1,000,
Yeah.
you can get major airtime on
Mhm.
CNN and Home Shopping.
Yeah, then we have them in
On
our
cable.
state too.
ICANN, ICAN.
Yeah, we use them, and it's really inexpensive compared to what other TV
Yeah.
costs.
But I know they were just in Faulkton and did a workshop not too long ago at Venture.
Oh, at the BNP meeting.
Another suggestion
Probably,
is.
maybe. And maybe we should work with that team, the business and promotion.
They're not business and promotion, they're business and professionals, and they basically all they do is do some advertising. Anybody who pays, like they make the flyers for Wild West Days, and they,
Are there enough people around the community that are passionate about the promotion that you could start a team?
Can you get together once a month and have a beer?
Yeah.
And just do stuff?
No, we don't drink beer.
Can you get together once a month and have a
my
cider?
door to my shop is right here, and the door to the bar is right there, so I work well with the bar, and we have happy hour and.
So people just show
Sales,
up with their
happy hour sales.
iPads and their phones, and you just do stuff.
Photographer in town, I know you have some
Oh, yeah,
really
we do.
If you
talented
need a graphic
photographers.
designer,
This
call
is-
Heidi Mortilla Lozier.
Well, it's just my friend works for Lawrence and Schiller, or my cousin works for Lawrence and Schiller, and she just directed me to somebody. She's too busy. She works for the South Dakota Tourism and doing graphic design for them. Anyway, she's too busy, and she's just like, I can't do this. So she led me to a guy named Jeremy Peterman. I don't know. He's a graphic designer. I just got in contact with him, but I'm like just a business in town. Like our city's not doing anything. Our economic development.
Well, go out there,
But I also don't
They'll start
have.
doing stuff.
I also don't
That's how it
have
works here.
$5,000 laying around to make a big marketing campaign for our town.
So if you go to the high school, have some of the high school kids who are wanting to go into graphics and stuff, have them create some of that stuff in their, you know. 'cause
And
people
even the
don't
ones
know.
that don't want, that aren't going into graphics, these kids are brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know how to do
They
this
know,
stuff.
yeah.
But I mean,
So-
that's free, and that's free
How big is
advertising, that's
Faulkton?
free.
767.
Talk to tourism about the triple B tax. There's a webinar that
yeah.
we're doing in September about the triple B tax. Sisseton has a promotion board that's fully
Mhm.
funded by that third penny.
Yep.
And that third penny does things like allow them to put billboards on the interstate and manage their website.
Our city several years ago added a half of a penny sales tax, and it was supposed to be for economic development and and it suddenly there's no trace, and it is officially in the general fund, and it is not being designated for what it was supposed to
That is
be.
frustrating.
So there's that too.
Triple B tax though has to be, that's why talk to tourism
It's
about
statewide,
triple
yeah.
B, because it has to be designated towards marketing and promoting your community, I'm pretty sure, like.
It can be used for structural stuff too, that brings,
People,
Yeah.
like fixing the
But
carousel. or-
it's about bringing visitors in, yep.
So,
Yep.
if you come to me and I'm on the city council and you tell me you need to do more marketing, that means nothing to me. But if you come and say, we need $1,000, here's how we're gonna spend it, it's gonna market, how much are you giving us? I can look at that and go, well, we have $250 in the budget, we can add to that. So just, what's it cost to do Facebook and Instagram promotions, and just put a simple plan together.
Yeah.
Go to DeSmit, I mean, DeSmit does it well, right?
Oh,
So they
yeah.
have, how many gift shops in town? A lot, on their main street, all because of Laura Ingalls Wilder, okay? So they filled their main street with gift shops that they're doing the marketing, right? you have a logo for your community. They create a bunch of T-shirts and memorabilia, and they sell it in their store. And
Who creates it? Here's my
the
problem.
business person does
I
it.
know I'm a business person and I'm supposed to be creating the things. I don't have that background to know what I'm supposed to put on a magnet.
You already
or what
have a fabulous logo for Fulton, right?
Right.
You already have that. Mitchell has done branding like the best of anybody in South Dakota.
So make an appointment and visit with her and find out what they did, and then make that a little bit smaller, because 17 to 7 is kind of a big difference. But, and you can maybe do some co-promoting.
So
That might be a partnership that might work well too.
Yep, here's an idea. So if you still have questions, we're going up to OpenX right now. Call a session about how do I market my community.
Perfect, yes.
And
Have you
people
done
will
OpenX?
come, and people will come and talk to you about that and help you and give you ideas. Just like we did right now, they'll show up.
Do the communities in the northeast part of the state still get together on a quarterly basis?
Yes, at the regional.
Not Advantage South Dakota?
No.
No,
the-
regional
the
round
Borough
table.
South Dakota still hosts the Northeast Regional Economic Development Group.
Yeah, we just had one last week.
Yep.
I was there.
I'm not part of that group.
Highly.
You don't have
I
to-
mean, I'm just a
you don't
business
have to do
owner.
everything.
I'm with you.
We do another
You can't do everything.
Right,
But
I thought
one
you were
person-
now.
the postcard thing is a great start for you.
Yeah.
You can do that. That's one thing you can absolutely do.
I wish I had you in Miller. I'd be at your shop every day being like, okay, what
Our
can we work
economic
on?
development coordinator's never been in my shop.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, that's
Okay,
heartbreaking.
let them go. They're not yours.
Yeah.
I know.
They're not yours.
It's just frustrating.
Do you have a paid economic development?
We
You
do.
do, part-time.